say ya, come on, let them say ya. That in my business, you catching fever. Getting serious like empty river. Ain't no stopping by the river. And as we coming, we sweeping, we cutting, we moving all the way. Yeah. We coming, yeah. We coming. As we coming, we sweeping, we coming. And then when we meet obstacles, we coming. Yeah, you coming, yeah. We coming. We better than a big coming. When the year is been checking you again, guys, we coming. We better than a big coming. They are not so we coming. We better than.
The 11 month 26. Our next leader for the Republic of Liberia, he is nobody else but Alexander B. Cummings, will be taking a visit to Bapolu County. So we take this time to ask all of the Bapolu citizens in Bapolu, along with Senator Daniel Flamon X, to rise up on their feet to welcome our President Alexander B. Cummings. Yeah! President Alexander Cummings. President Alexander Cummings. Dear Alexander Cummings.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to say welcome to the program, The Bottom Line, and we're going to be streaming live on YouTube and also on Facebook, and we're going to be pasting the YouTube link on our Facebook page, and so you can follow us right there. It's on The Bottom Line. So watch out for tonight's edition of the program, the Bottom Line. We expecting our panelists to come in any moment from now. As they dip in, we'll be going into our discussions, and so we urge you to stay with us as we get ready, we get set to go through with our discussions tonight. And it's going to be quite interesting because in Liberia nowadays, it's a lot of things happening. So there's a lot to talk about. We will not be short of any discussions here or any topic to talk about. It's a lot more to talk about. So we urge you to follow us on Facebook and as well as on YouTube, where we'll be streaming live. And we as we try to connect to our Facebook page, we will be pasting the link there from the YouTube, and all you need to do is just click on that link, and then you'll be connected to the discussions this evening. My name is Linford Goa, and I'm expecting Paul Chodople and also Chima Kamara and Antrik Chalo. They will all be part of the discussions here this evening. So like I said, we're going to be coming to you live on our various Facebook pages and groups. So stay tuned as we set the stage for tonight's discussion. So all you have to do is follow us on our Facebook sites, and you're going to be live with us as we go through the discussions this evening. And it's going to, like I said, it's going to be really extremely entertaining because it's a lot of things happening just in short space of time, and we can't fall short of discussing these things because of course Liberia is our country, and whenever things are happening, we must be very much proactive to discuss them. And so we don't want to leave anybody out of the discussions. So you can join us, make your own contributions, and together we can all make our contribution to the building of Liberia. And like I said, this is a country that belongs to each and every one of us. And so nobody, absolutely nobody, will say, well, this is not my business, or I'm not interested. Well, if you're not interested, but make sure that whatever happens in the country and whatever decisions people take will also affect you, whether you are interested. And this is not about you. It may not be directly about you. It will be about your children, your children's children. And that's why it's necessary at times to take part in these discussions. And I will tell you that discussions as such do not really border on one person's interest. If it is not your interest, look at the interest of your family. So as we share the link on our various Facebook sites, we urge you to follow so that you will be part of the discussions tonight. And we hope our panelists can join us pretty soon. We are awaiting our panelists to join us. But as I wait for them, I just want to encourage you to also share the link on your own Facebook page and encourage your friends to join. This platform is pretty new, and we're dealing with some very complex streaming apps, and sometimes things do happen that we have no control over. But I can see in the background that my panelists are getting ready. Paul will soon be with us from the UK, and I'm here in Norway, and Antrik is in Belgium, and Jima is also in the UK. So you see how diverse we are. And so follow us on our Facebook pages. We got the bottom line one. That's the bottom line. Then we have the bottom line Liberia. Then we have bottom line. So it's a host of pages that you can find us on. So there's no excuse that I didn't see you people. No, we all over the place. Okay, so you can find us and follow us as we pasting our information there, so that you can take part on the show this evening. And trust me, it's going to be very much interesting because, like I said, it's a lot happening in Liberia right now. It's a lot happening in Liberia right now, and you know, we just need to talk about these things that are happening, and no one, absolutely no one, can say it's not my business. Nobody can say, well, I don't want to be part of it. Well, if you don't want to be part of it personally, but it will affect you no matter whether you're part of it, but it's going to affect you. So you can find us on Facebook. You can also follow us on YouTube. Our YouTube handle is the Bottom Line Liberia, so you can follow us there. But I have shared the links or the link on our Facebook pages and group page, so you can follow us there, and you'll be part of the discussions tonight. Let me just begin to bring in our panelists for tonight. Pretty soon, we're going to have Jemima joining us from the UK, but Paul is here already, and Antrik is here, and then Steve Carley, also from Germany. I mean, it's going to be a full house tonight. And like I said, it's a lot to discuss tonight. Let me say welcome to you guys, to you gentlemen and one lady. And should we start with the lady first, or Antrik? But Antrik is still, I think, in a preparatory stage. Also, let me go to Germany. Let me go to Germany. We're gonna be going here and there from covering the whole of Europe. So, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can hear you loud and clear.
Steve, I'm not sure if I'm hearing you, or probably it's from my end. So let's see what I can do here to adjust my speaker, but I'm sure that maybe from and my every time. Paul, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. Good evening.
Well. Jemima is trying to come in, and so the house is going to be full tonight. And you got Steve, Jemima, and Paul. You can also share the link on your individual pages. I've gone to the YouTube and share the link on all of the Facebook pages for the Bottom Line, so people can just go there and click, and they'll be watching the show. They'll be following it from wherever they are, and so you guys who also do same, share the page, and let's see if we're gonna have that much needed view that we need, because like I said earlier on, this is these are issues of Liberia that we just can't do away with. But guys, if you can hear me, just let me know. I'm not hearing you, but I don't know what's happening. But
can you hear me, Lifa?
Well, let me see what's going on. Try to unmute yourselves. I don't see anybody who is muted. Everybody is on, except for Jemima. But I don't know why I don't hear you guys. Okay, let me do.
Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you, Linford.
Can you also hear me, folks?
I hear you, Steve.
Everything seems to be great from my side, but I don't know why. Everything seems to be great from here.
Do you want us to get out and come back in?
I don't know. My mic is working. So guys, do you hear me?
Can you hear you loud and clear?
Steve, do you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Antrik, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay, I'm good. But my problem, I'm the one not hearing any of you guys, so I don't know whether I have problem. What's going on with me? What's going on, man? Okay. Let me get my headphone while you guys adjust for the discussions, and you can begin to share it. You go to bottom line and then click on the link there and share it on your personal page.
While we are waiting for how you guys doing this evening, man? Steve?
Yeah, I'm pretty okay. I'm doing great. I thank God for the opportunity to have been successfully ushered into the new year 2022 in good health, in
Testing
good
1
faith,
2. Do you guys
and
still
with
hear me?
optimism. We can hear you, Lincoln. Yes, so Paul, it's an opportunity to be alive and healthy. And it's good to be on here again. How are you there in UK?
Yeah, I'm okay. The UK is always freezing cold today.
Okay, let's get started. Like I said, I have my panelists from across Europe. We have Paul Chiripi from the United Kingdom. We have Andre Jallo from Belgium. We also have Jamel Kamara from the United Kingdom, and Steve Carley is there in Germany. And I'm here in Scandinavia, Norway to be specific. And so I let us say welcome to gentlemen and lady. This is the program, The Bottom Line. And here we discuss political issues. We discuss issues of human interest. We discuss just about everything that affects Liberia and Liberians. And so I let us say welcome to you guys this evening. And let's get the ball rolling. This is a political season. But first of all, let me say Happy New Year to all of you. And this is a political season. This is the time that the political activities in Liberia will get into full swing. In fact, they are in full swing. So let me start by throwing the ball out there to Mr. Jamel Kamara. He seems to be all set. Jamel, we're in a political season. This is all about Liberia. Have you been following the recent developments in Liberia, and what can you say about what we see now? Are we on course?
You're muted.
I think Jamal is muted.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Am I loud and clear now?
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I would like to say a big thank you, a big Happy New Year to all my colleagues across Europe and all those who are following us right now across this bottom on Liberia. First, let me tell you what is happening right now for now 18 months. It's going to be quite interesting in Liberia, in political wise, and the political landscape, and the geopolitics in Liberia are going to be quite interesting. You see what is unfolding right now. You see development in Liberia with the CPP. You know what a lot of things are happening. So we will see a lot to happen. There are going to be challenges on the way. And going to be some drama. There's going to be some quite interesting story. So we just hope to follow. And we'll be discussing this up to another 18 months. So it's going to be quite interesting. And I think it's time we all, one thing I want to tell Liberians or those who listen or following us right now is we should all believe in something. Liberia is the first and foremost. It's not something about sentimental or be emotional, but the situation. Sometimes it could be ALP, it could be Liberty Party, it could be Unity Party, whatever the party is. Liberia come first. That's the thing I believe in. If we have to argue our point, let's argue in a grown-up way, mature and a grown-up way, where we can argue on points, not on sentiment, now being on like ethnic line or on tribal line. I mean, now religious line. What we believe in principle. So if you discuss issues like that on the national level, then we see reasons. So this is going to happen. But what happened in Africa, you can't divorce politics from ethnicity with religion. Those are issues the politicians use as a card to get us against each other, to win votes. So we need to be smart. We need to know the difference. So it's going to be quite interesting, Linford.
You're muted, Linford. You're muted.
Paul, we want to come in. What do you make of what's going on in Liberia presently?
Well, first of all, I want to say Happy New Year to every one of you guys, and it's good to be on tonight. And what's happening in Liberia is just how they call it, political theater that is unfolding at the moment, and I think it's all boiled down to the big 2023 election. Everyone is gearing up for all this, so you have the political theater. There'll be a lot of drama, so it's just a start. That's how I see it today. And what's going to happen, because people want the big seat, they will do everything to get to that big seat. So we got more to see. Yeah.
Steve, we're going to go around the table. So everybody's going to give their view on how they feel about the activities going on. So Steve, if you were to just tell our listening public how you feel about the present activities going on, especially kicking out this new year, how things are unfolding politically in Liberia.
So let me attempt to put it into context. Contextually, Liberia has a history of a broken system since 1822 or since 1847. And so what we've experienced in Liberia in recent time is you have an opposition that have amalgamated their forces, thinking that those forces
sorry, Antrik is now with us right now. Probably should be coming in later, but okay, Antrik is Antrik.
Can I go ahead?
We hope we can.
Can I go ahead?
Antrik, I guess you've been following recent activity, especially in the new year.
Can I go ahead?
Starting
of
the political system in Liberia, so to speak. There has been a lot of things happening. What do you make of it? Are we on board? Is what we do in the coming days or coming months or coming weeks?
Linford, I think Steve was on the floor talking first, so just allow him to continue his discussion before I can get in.
Linford, can you hear me? Can Linford hear me?
I don't think he's hearing you.
But folks, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, so in continuation, you have an opposition, and this opposition is blessed to have Mr. Cummins. Mr. Cummins, who have come with such an incredible record, and a result-oriented manager, international, manager.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes with this, unquote, clean hands. And he's coming with real change, dimensions of real change. He's coming with a resolve to change the system. And what I see in Liberia is that the system and those who have orchestrated the system, who have supported the system over the decades, are fighting back. it is alarming that when I read the rate of arrest that was issued to Mr. Cummings, I saw that the government is the prosecutor. That is alarming for me. Now, there may be legal justifications for that, but yet that is alarming. Even additionally, on grounds that the judge of the city court, you know, who is expected to have been, this has been a public issue. This has been in public glare. So the judge at least is expected to know that this issue was raised long time ago, and that the lawyers, the legal-minded folks like himself, were consulted. At least he should have been aware of the response from the lawyers. But yet he jumped into, you know, issuing a writ of arrest, you know, knowing the historicity of this particular issue. But I think what I see in Liberia right now as it stands, Mr. Cummings is being purported as the face of the opposition in disguise. I think this fight, or this fight back at Mr. Cummings, is going to make him more popular with the Liberian people. And it is making him the face of the opposition. It has placed in a position where it appears as though Mr. Cummings is that one, that big potato who forces, you know, counter-reactionary forces, or the brothers from the other side within the CPP are fearful, or they are afraid of. And the ruling establishment too, given your involvement, could be afraid of Mr. Cummings. So you see, Mr. Cummings, this could be the beginning of Mr. Cummings' 2023 victory.
Yeah.
From what I see.
Yes.
And I
agree with you. I agree with you, Steve. 100%. I agree with you. You know, it's just funny how things are unfolding right before our own eyes. You know, the devil is showing itself little by little, and you know, there's a post that a guy on Facebook by the name of Chief Colley did one time, and he said sometimes the victim is not the victim, but the perpetrator sometimes is the victim, the actual victim. When this issue was about the fingering of document was going on, that's how he made that remarks, and it's coming to a clear place where you see what is actually unfolding, because this is something that they had been accusing Mr. Cummings of being in bed with the government, not knowing the actual accuser is the one that is in bed with the government, and it is clear now. So they were just playing this conspiracy theory and thinking that it's gonna work on the Liberian people. But you know, I want to say has out to Mr. Cummings, because yeah, to change a system that has been in existence for a very long time since the country was founded, it's really not going to be an easy thing. And this is what we are going through right now. We are fighting for Liberia. We are fighting for a better Liberia, because Liberians deserve better. And I want to encourage Mr. Cummings not to give up, to continue the fight, because the people are with you. I heard young girls, young women, and young men today. You see, you meant it for evil. You meant it to destroy this main character, but God is doing it for good. For good. That's all I can say right now. I give it to our chairman to speak.
Okay, Paul. I don't know if you listened to Mr. Cummings.
Oh, he's laughing. I know that kind of a smart.
To his supporters today, after he was let go on bond. And one of the things he said was that they will fight, meaning the ANC and Mr. Cummings will fight to the end.
Yes.
And he didn't define how they will fight. But what do you think if Mr. Cummings was to fight to the end? How do you think he's going to start his war? I mean, so to speak, yes, or idiomatically speaking. Does that mean that he's going to, okay, let me modify. Does that mean he's going to pursue the case to the end, or he's going to fight the system that is against him, or he's going to continue his bid for the presidency? What do you make of his statement?
Well, okay, thank you for that. The thing is, the way I see it politically, he's gonna do more session. That what I'm driving at is he's now gonna go over toward the country and work extremely hard to get people on his side. And imagine if somebody tarnish your reputation and you kept quiet, you got away with it, and the very person now took you to court. After the lawsuit, when he does not found guilty, he will definitely react. He will definitely go after these guys. So he have to show them that, look, I let you off once, you can't do it twice. And that's what he will fight. He'll get back to them. And people should be mindful. And what I see, I said it's a political theater today. Now, the bad guys in Liberia are afraid of Mr. Cummings for one fact. Yeah. If he take office, the war economic crime code that people are afraid of, it will happen on him. And the very people that fighting him, they are the main perpetrator of the war economic crime. So we should watch out for all of this. They will do everything to fight him. And that's why you see he's now saying, I'm going to fight too. So it's not only today, it's also for tomorrow. So what they're praying for, if you see all the actors in the whole thing, this 2023 election that is coming is not about Liberia. It's about stopping Mr. Cummings not to get to that seat. Because the bad guys want this to continue. And that's why I see he will fight, and he will fight to get it. Nobody earns something easily. To get something, you got to work extremely hard, and he will fight, and he will get there.
I'm the moderator, but I think I have some other views too. I had my private podcast a few days ago, and one of the things that I was discussing was that I was asking myself, what was Mr. Cummings saying that he committed within the CPP? Because from my understanding, gentlemen, if I'm wrong, anybody can put me on course here. From my understanding, the CPP came together as a result of mutual understanding among all of the political party leaders that came together, okay? And I believe that coming together, they came together as equals, as pars, P-A-L or P-A-L-S, as pars. Okay, so meaning nobody came as what subordinate to the other. Nobody came to support the other one to say, okay, I'll only be there to support you. So they all came as equals, regardless of whatever normal you had in the past elections. That is behind us, or that is behind them. Okay, so they came together with new understanding that, look, gentlemen, we have to come together, we have to conglomerate to fight the ruling system. Okay, now, when they came, like I said, regardless of how many votes one had in the past, they all came as equal political leaders. And when they came on, they came with ideologies that they had to share. Now, how come the rest of the political parties come to the conclusion that the only way possible, or the only way forward for the CPP to go is to have Mr. Cummings go as running mate to former VP Joseph Numa Boakai, or else that will not hold, or else he's desperate, or else he does not fit in the picture. Now, then I gave an analogy. I'm just saying this so that probably you guys can come in and build onto it. Then I gave an analogy. Liberia, from our knowledge, has never gone for a World Cup. We go for the qualifiers, but we have never played in the finals. So if Liberia struggles and qualify for the finals one day, and then you got countries like Brazil, Germany, France, Italy, England, all the countries that have been playing the World Cup over and over and even winning. And then they found out that Liberia had just won and came in for the very first time. You think, and knowing that all of the countries that will qualify to go to that World Cup are all equals. Whether you score only one goal to qualify to go there, you are all equals. And then Germany, France, and all the big countries look at Liberia, they say, no, you never play the World Cup final before, so go take 4th place. They play yet. They have not won Liberia or nothing, but they just look at Liberia because Liberia had not won or played in the finals of the World Cup. They say go and take 4th place. So it baffles my mind. How did these people, the rest of the people, arrive at the conclusion that Mr. Cummings in a position in that CPP could be to go second to former VP Bouaka? So probably some of you guys have something else to think in that direction.
I think it's just all about the same corrupt group of politicians, trying to regroup themselves again to continue to steal and continue to suppress the people. Yeah, it's just a total deception. That's just it, because what they are saying that they have the numbers and that another person do not have the number is a complete lie and deception. So yeah, it's just they are just trying to manipulate our people because they see the Liberian people are gullible in a way that they can just say things and manipulate their minds. This is what they have been doing for many years. They have been doing it. So they think that they can continue doing these things. But now that we have a strong leader, well sophisticated one as Mr. Cummings, he can be able to change that narrative and say, hey, I might not be a politician. I might not work in government, but my experience and my track record of honesty and corruption clean is something that the Liberian people should look at and know that I can be a better president. Yeah, and he can make his own case. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think. Listen.
Yeah,
I believe we should not be emotional about this. This is going to be a lot of game. Mr. Tukumi has to have a thick skin. We're just starting the game right now. George Weah is coming. He's the guy who's been there for another 3 years. He's going to be there. He wants to be there another 12 years. This is a CPP. How much of the government are in power right now? They are preparing to fight against it. They are putting a strategy together. So what Mr. Tommy should be aware of, you got a real battle to get into. So you be ready for it. You should be prepared for it. You have to take skin to get into politics. If you are not going to, this is quite different from corporate politics. This is a governmental politics. This is a mainstream politics. When you get involved, you got to be the real guy to fight the game. So you got to roll off his sleeves, tighten his belts, and know that the Liberian politics is not something like you're going to do like, it's not corporate words or corporate politics, quite different in the main office where there are two different things we're dealing with here. So I think he's going to be battle tested. So what I'm saying, what we can see from here is we've already started within our own ranks. You see the confusion started when somebody said that the document was tampered with, and that didn't go well. I mean, he succeeded getting over that. Now coming back to and then carrying to court. There's a writ of someone or writ of arrest, two different things. I'm not a legal person. We could see this is different. There was a writ of arrest and a writ of summon. But this guy was actually to be writ of arrest. But the whole story changed. So it's like, as long as they keep bothering this guy, making him more popular, that's what they should also know. When they push you around, you see the turn up today. It was massive at the Temple of Justice. So it also keep, what they don't know is also keep making the opposition look much more of not responsible. If you keep battling among yourselves, what about the main target, which is George Weah in power? What are you coming yourself together? Even if you don't want to be part of the CPP, the union you guys form, the collaboration you got to form. I mean, go away and fight your own game. I mean, put yourself together and prepare for another battle against the government in power. I know for now, next 18 months to come, we're going to have another proliferation of political parties. I remember in 2005, we were almost like 22 political parties running for the presidency of Liberia. So what I'm saying here, Mr. Cummings needs to be very ready for the game. There's not only that he has a big guy to deal with, which is George Weah. I mean, Ure and other people won't be this will be a small potato for him. I know you will overcome that, but it's not going to be an easy walk. This is not walking to the park. This is not going to be a picnic for you. It's going to be a serious fight. So the ANC should be ready, and other political parties should be ready. If you have to get ready, I mean, we should get ready. That's what I want to tell him. It's not going to be an easy journey for him, seriously, and the ANC members. So let's not go around making like going to be a nice thing or where they are gullible. So I mean, that's politics. They want to get him. If I can in the fight, yeah, go on.
Chima, I'm not cutting you off, but I heard you say that the CPP should be ready for these fights. Or do you see anything left of the CPP? I mean, as it stands, because we are getting rumors that other parties will be leaving because the Liberty, the ALP has already left, and other parties will follow. Do you see anything that will be left of the CPP except from the ANC? Do you see how?
Well, listen. What I will tell you here, what we know of right now, what I know of, ALP, the All Liberian Party, has come up with a public statement, a press release that they are leaving the CPP, the union they formed. I don't know about the Unity Party. If anybody knows of that, I don't know of that. So we don't know until they can come out. Until then, I think what I also heard, there's speculation. There's a speculation that there's a speculation around that the ANC and the Liberty Party are speaking to other groups. There are other parties in Liberia. They call the group called Grand Coalition, if you heard of them. They are also around. So there's a chance that ANC can get them together. I mean, Liberty Party, ANC can go around getting together and form it can be another combination of parties to form a CPP. And there can be a good arrangement between them. But there's a hope stay for the CPP. What is happening right now, if the ALP and Unity Party pull out, then they give them more room to reorganize themselves as another political force. But until then, this debacle that's going on, this fiasco that's going to need to be settled down before we can see what is happening. They are getting them attention be detracted. Their attention be detracted to look at within themselves. There's a fight among the ranks. Until then, I still believe there's a hope for CPP. There's a hope. Other parties are coming up. I just told you there'll be parties coming up. We've got 18 months. I think there's no the doors are not closed here for political party to be formed. They can come up, and there's a room to form part of CPP if they want to. They got Daniel Cassell, other parties are there. The other parties are coming up. You saw like Arcoba is coming, Daniel Cassell, other parties, and Theo Gongol is also around, independent. You're going to form a party. You can reach out to him for him to form part of the CPP. Those are things in the making. You never know. This politics, a day in politics is a lot of time in politics. So that I can tell you there's a hope for CPP. It's not dead yet.
Okay. I want us to. Steve is a bit on or probably is having some connections problem there. Ladies and gentlemen, I was skimming through the news, the major news outlets, the newspaper outlets in Liberia today, and I saw some touching headlines. Probably I'll just read some of the headlines and we can discuss it. The front page, Africa this way. Ure being used by government. In this sense, how Ure is on the political, on the opposition side, especially before his withdrawal. So how can the government use him? In this scenario,
in every organization there's always a Judas, and I think Ure is the Judas within the CPP. That's the simple interpretation. He is the Judas. He has always been, but he has been undercover, but now he's showing himself. You know, when Judas wanting to sell Jesus, he did not come out, you know, publicly. He went in the back, collected money, did all the arrangement when he decided to come out publicly, and then he gave Jesus a kiss. So yeah, Yure had already shown himself. But I don't know why people do not know, because Yure daughter, who is we all know, who contested in the representative election, she is having a contract within the Liberia Airport Authority. She is the one that is in charge of the parking service within the airport authority. So what do you expect? These people, it has always been about business, their family legacy, and their riches. It has never been about the people of Liberia. They just want to protect their legacy, protect their wealth, continue getting richer, while the Liberian people continue getting poorer and begging for crumbs from them. But we're not going to allow that to happen. Real change is here. Mr. Cummings is the real change, and we will fight. When we say we fight, we're not talking about physical fight. We're going to advocate. We're going to go out to our people. We'll reach every holes within Liberia and spread the news, spread the word to our people that you people have kept them in the dark for so long, and it is time for change. It is time for real change. Someone who's going to transform our country, someone who's going to make our people be better. They live in their country where they can have good health care, good security, electricity 24/7. All of us here on this platform, we live in the diaspora. We know how everything works. We know how the system works here. Infrastructurally, everything is in order. Everything is well organized. So that is what we want for Liberia. And no one going to stop it. We're going to stand up and speak for our country and for our people. And that change is ABC.
Okay, let's
yes.
Yeah, Andre, let's hear from Steve. Let's hear from Steve. The question, I mean, we're looking through the local dailies in Liberia, the major headlines. The front page, Africa had it today. It said Ure is being used by the government in this particular case involving he and Mr. Cummings, or quote unquote the ANC. And my question here is, how could the government that Ure should be opposition to use Ure against Mr. Cummings? Do you see that as being feasible?
Of course, that is exactly what is interplaying. You know, the legal-minded folks who've spoken on the issue have, you know, maintained that, you know, under our law, all criminal cases belong to government, you know, but you don't need to be a student of law to understand the implication that exists therein. The implication here is that criminal cases begins from, you know, government, you know, paramilitary arms, you know, that are statutorily responsible to you know, adjudicate criminal cases from the very beginning. So the implication here is that this case needed to take, you know, needed to begin from the Liberian National Police. It did not begin from the Liberian National Police. Okay, and all of a sudden, the government of Liberia became, you know, a prosecutor of the case. How then was that possible? Okay, so that alone speaks volume, you know, to substantiate accusations surrounding, you know, government, you know, involvement with this stuff. You know, besides that, I think it is important for us to be reminded, you know, of this perspective. Mind you, few months or weeks ago, Mr. Cummings refused to have attended, meetings of the collaborating political party under the stewardship of Ambassador Boakai. Now, I want you to understand, Mr. Cummings in recent time has played cool shoulder with his, expected participation with the activities of the CPP under the watchful eyes of Boakai. Should I say the watchful eyes for lack of better words? Now, but his refusal was based on principles. I'm submitting to you, Mr. Cummings have had sufficient basis and overriding reasons to have taken a lawsuit against his accusers, and including, the leadership of the CPP for their refusal to have adjudicated this matter to a logical conclusion. Mr. Cummings have insisted that his integrity has been, labeled. His integrity is high-earned integrity is involved. So this issue must be investigated and brought to a logical melting point in order for him to be, fully involved with the activities as was being expected. So I'm submitting to you in a sense that there's a sense in which Mr. Cummings has sufficient reason to make a case to have sued these folks. Okay, but yet Mr. Cummings provided space. He gave them time for soul session. He wanted somebody to come to their senses. But that didn't happen. Until today, these guys are going to be arguing like they got a case. I'm not sure they have a case. I'm not sure they have a case. If they had a case, the lawyers, these well-meaning, respectable personalities, these well-accomplished lawyers of the CPP would have indicated in their response to the CPP leadership under Madam Yomli Kanga that indeed there was an amendment or a finger of the document, so to speak, but none of that came up. You see, so yes, to answer your question.
Let me just stop you there. Let me just stop you there, Steve. You're talking about Mr. Cummings should have followed the case when he was accused of fingering the document. He didn't do that, but now we've come this far where he, who was accused and didn't follow up the case, is now in court for forgery, for alleged forgery by the ALP. So, in this cthat who do you blame?
That is to give you sufficient reason why Mr. Cummings is going to fly out of this case with flying colors. Mr. Cummings is going to be victorious in the end.
Well, how can you be so sure? How can you be so sure? Because he was accused. He was accused and he didn't follow up the case. So that in itself, somebody will argue that that was a sign of him being guilty. Because if you look at me, Steve, and say, "Oh, Linford, the shirt that you're wearing now, it was my shirt. You took it from my room, okay?" And I just let it die. I don't kind of defend myself. And then all of a sudden, you go further again and sue me and say that, in fact, I told or I did something else to you. Okay? So then,
let me remind you. Let me remind you using the very example. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I'm following you.
I accuse you of taking my shirt. Okay, now we decided to adjudicate the matter, and we came to an understanding from all indications that this accusation is false. Now, what happened was I started to invite you to a meeting for us to continue to be friends as usual. And you insist that in order for our friendship to continue, you insist that even as you remain my friend, our degree of association, will be not as before until this issue that seeks to blur my integrity can be adjudicated to a logical conclusion. Look, let me tell you, I don't need a rocket scientist, or the people watching from the outside do not need a rocket scientist to know that you indeed have got reasons. You are convinced that you did not steal my child. So, coming back to the issue under discussion, Mr. Cummings, if Mr. Cummings was guilty, he wouldn't have insisted that there be a logical conclusion to this investigation. And that is sufficient reason, in addition to my confidence in Mr. Cummings' sincerity, that is sufficient reason for anyone to be convinced that Mr. Cummings is going to be victorious. Mind you, he was the one calling for a completion of the investigation. Then all of a sudden, there comes this chicanery. No, it can't survive. It can't survive.
Well, Lincoln, I wanted to add something on your question you asked about the front page newspaper. If you can recall the beginning of COVID, that the government had a project and they were going around distributing buckets to communities. And at the time, Mr. Ure was the CPP chairperson. So the government gave him some of the buckets to distribute to his community, and he was actually promoting the government. Yeah. So since then, he been seeing the trend, what been happening. Now, the group who kept saying that Cummings and Musa Bility have been paid agent to destroy the CPP is the very group today that walking out of the CPP. So logically, it means they are the pay agent. See, so they were the plain pay agent to break the CPP. So the government actually strategized a good formula to break the CPP up. But thanks to Musa Bility, who was smart enough to say, no, let's go with this guy. So the Liberty Party now and ANC, it seems to me that is the CPP. The other two parties are going to walk away. No matter how, so it's actually been broken. That's, I just want to... Yeah,
let me just have this 30-second addendum to Brother Trupley. You see, the issue Brother Trupley just brought to our reminder is a valid issue. When you witness the chairperson of the major opposition bloc, in our country, representing
the government,
the offices of the president, or representing the president at the distribution of some Ebola, Corona,
Corona
material. That was a gesture directly from the office of the president. Let's be clear. So
somebody will argue. Somebody will argue that was during crisis, and the government has asked this or reached out to this opposition leader who was at the time chairman of the major opposition group, so that they will all work together and solve the humanitarian crisis. Don't you look at it that way?
No. Oh, but if you look at it that way, realism impels me to submit that that may be right. But mind you, yes, in the spirit of fighting together, in the spirit of depoliticizing the fight against coronavirus, the opposition and the ruling establishment need to work together. But does it erase the fact that the chairman of the ruling, of the major opposition bloc was representing the president's office? Did it erase that fact as well? No.
No, but Steve, what he did, it was the message that he carried. From that message, people knew he was working for the government. He didn't say, oh, this came from the government for you. He said the president will come and build houses, because he's building houses also in Grand Jeddah. So he was actually promoting the president.
Yes, I remember that occasion.
So if he was doing it with a motive of depoliticizing the fight against coronavirus, he would have indicated that. Okay, so it is an open secret that Mr. Uri, in his capacity as CPP chairperson, represented the office of the president. That can tell anyone that there is a relationship between Mr. Uri and the president. Mind you,
I can add something else to that. The advisors to the president, there were 3 advisors. All 3 are Uri best mate.
Wow.
To tell you that, the Emmanuel Shaw, Charles Bright, Archie Bonner, they are all Uri friends.
Yeah.
They had the advisor told the president. So definitely he was the playing agent within the CPP, because he talked his bodies every day. And so, read between the lines and just work it out. He was the playing agent.
You see,
who was the loudmouth to break
with all of what you recounted from the distribution of corona materials up to now. Why didn't anybody in the CPP, especially the 3 other leaders, raise any red flag at the time? Because Uri was the chairman?
I think red flag was raised, but then he came out with like what you said. Oh, the president asked me to do something, I can say no. And that was the answer. Everybody went quiet, but people read between the lines. And I've said that what? If you surround him with people, even his daughter and the president like this, so it just tells you.
And it surprised me because the same daughter was the same person that the WIA government nearly killed. If it wasn't because of the same Alexander Cummings who mobilized his partisan to go out there and protect that girl. She's so ungrateful. And it is sad that these people are so greedy. All they care about is their belly and how to continue to enrich themselves.
So there just one thing. Two points that I want you guys to note as we move forward with this conversation. That Mr. Uri and Mr. Weah have got a history of relationship, political relationship. Let that be noted. Far before the formation of the CPP. Okay? And then the second thing is, let this fight not be construed as a fight between Mr. Uri and Honorable Cummings. Okay? This fight is not between Mr. Uri and Honorable Cummings. There are sufficient facts before us to submit that, Ambassador Bouaka, this fight has the support of Ambassador Bouaka and by extension, the government.
Yeah.
Okay. Then this brings me to another thing. This brings me to another thing. Viewers, if you just joining us, this is the program, The Bottom Line. I'll come to you. But I have with me Stephen Carley from Germany, Antrik Jallo from Belgium, and earlier on we had Jamal Kamara from the UK, who is going to attend another engagement, and Paul is also from the UK, and Paul will also be leaving to attend another meeting. Like I said, we're in a political season, and a lot of things are happening everywhere, both in the diaspora and back home, or politically. And so we'll be letting Paul go, and so it's Andrick, Steve, and myself for the next 20 minutes or so. But Steve, Paul, is there anything that you just wanted to add before you leave?
Well, the thing is, great show anyway, and you keep up the good work and watch out for the bad actors. And what I'm going to say, if you watching out, people hide behind the Holy Bible to do the bad things in Liberia. And I can tell for a fact, all those that preach the gospel today, if you find out, they are the mean guys today, and doing what is wrong. So just watch out for that. We still have more drama to come. It's just the beginning. We have 18 months to go to election. There'll be a lot of movement on the CPP side, and those de facto CPP members, they will be heading towards the government. That is my political analysis. My analysis I'm giving to you guys. What's going to happen here is a lot of folks from that live in the CPP, they're going to join the government. It just shows you the trend that is going. So those who remain in the CPP will be the real CPP. And I just want to leave it at that. I say good night to you guys, and I hope to be on the show another time. Great show.
Good night.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Happy New Year to you and your family. I have something else that I want to throw across the board, and we can brainstorm on it. And that is, I follow the trend of events since the formation of the CPP. When the CPP was formed, Beno Nagure took over the chairmanship from a very formative stage of the CPP. And so I personally believe that if there was some problem with the CPP at that time, it was the first time it was formed, and people would have seen this problem. People would have known what was going on, and they would have dared not to even venture into being part of anything called CPP. But they didn't do it. The CPP survived from the formative stage under Beno Nagure. And then came Mr. Alexander Cummings, who took the CPP as a working child. And under Mr. Cummings' reign, there were a lot of good things that happened under the CPP. One of which is the CPP fielded a lot of candidates in the by-elections. Not all of them won, but the major ones won. Like, for example, Darius Dillon, Jonathan Sigwe,
Lawrence.
And the list goes on. Okay, against the ruling establishment. That was an achievement. And during the time of Mr. Cummings, the CPP was rather stable. There was no confusion. We didn't hear anything. Then King Nyomli Kanga Lawrence. And just before I go to that part, when Mr. Cummings was chairman of the CPP, he represented the CPP so much so that even his own partisans from the ANC felt that he was paying a lot of attention to the CPP than the ANC. And some political observers that I talked to, they said, well, Mr. Cummings was doing this with the sole purpose of selling the CPP out to the Liberian people, not only his ANC, because he knew that he was part of a collaboration. And so as chairman, his duty was to sell the collaboration more so than his own organization, the ANC. And so Mr. Cummings, during that time, made some statements like, we cannot, especially to the Liberian people, that we will not continue to do the same old things that we've been doing and expect new results. And I've been thinking critically, probably this is where Mr. Cummings went wrong, because the group that made up the CPP at the time, namely the Unity Party, the Benona Ure Party, and the Nyomli Kanga Party, these are people who have been importing Liberian politics for years. And they are used to, especially Ome Bwaka, those are people who are used to the old way of doing things, the way government functions. That is, I come there, I eat what I can eat and get out. So when Cummings started to make this kind of assertion that, oh, you know, we can't continue to do things, the Osimo, and then they said, oh, wait, listen, this guy wants to muddy the water for us. I mean, we think this is our chance, and this guy is bringing new idea. So I personally, just my own analysis, I thought, or I think that was where Mr. Cummings actually stumped his toes. But moving forward, Mr. Cummings left the CPP on a good footing. There was not much confusion. But the moment normally can get to over, then things begin to fall apart. And then the first accusation came, that Mr. Cummings finger document. And it was the same document they used to field all of the candidates in the past by-election. And nobody saw this confusion. And where did Mr. Ure get his information from? He said he got it from NEC. Okay, so is there anybody at NEC who is so friendly with Mr. Cummings? Not the entire collaboration, but only Mr. Ure, I mean, that they could give him sensitive information. And so they accused Mr. Cummings. Fast forward. Then the case went, like Steve said, it didn't come to any logical conclusion. And they decided to just, you know, smoke peace pipe and let it die in the spirit of togetherness. And then here we are today, Mr. Bwaka, who is supposed to be the quote-unquote wise man, old man, or the oldest of the group, should be so wise like King Solomon, has let the CPP go into disarray, and he has not even made a first move, because any wise person, like I posted today on my Facebook page, King Solomon, if he was part of the CPP, he would not have let the CPP break away. He would have used his wisdom to mend the broken fences within the CPP. So, Andre and Steve, Joseph Bwaka has, in my opinion, failed to show leadership just within a small organization like the CPP. How do you see this man leading a country where you have opposition from within and just all kinds of things happening to the next president to come? Do you think he can really stir the state of affairs of our nation when he cannot even keep a small unit together?
Well, I think to say that Ambassador Bwaka has the competence and qualification and require patriotism to steer the affairs of this country, you know, in a way and manner that transmogrifies, you know, the livelihood of our people, and, you know, and the wanton system we confronted with. I'm going to say a big no to that. But let me take a step backward, because, you know, you touched on some relevant issues. Let me say this for the records. In as much as Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings have not compromised his principles, have not compromised his sincerity, in as much as Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings remain tall in principles, even as a member of the CPP, I want to submit that I don't see a mistake with his decision to have joined the CPP. I don't see. If those guys were successful in turning Mr. Cummings into their kind, their corrupt kind, then I would have said otherwise. But as it stands, Mr. Cummings remained tall. Yeah. Mr. Cummings remained a patriot. He remained clear. He remained consistent. So I see nothing wrong with that. Now, talking about, you know, as you attempted juxtaposing, the leadership performance, or the leadership performance credentials of the different chairpersons of the CPP. I am keen, of course, everyone knows Mr. Cummings is the most successful leader of the CPP. Today, the portfolio of victory the CPP can boast of, Mr. Cummings led that accomplishment. So let's put that aside. Talking about Yomli Kanga's leadership. Now, Senator Yomli Kanga's leadership. Let me say this. You mentioned, Linford, that there was a peace pipe smoked. I don't remember that. I certainly do not remember that. What I remember is that after the lawyers have responded to the CPP's leadership quest regarding the case, and the lawyer indicated clearly that there was nothing changed as was being alleged. What I saw was the chairperson, the then chairperson of the CPP in Senator Yomli Kanga Lawrence came to public glare and released a press conference which content contradicted the facts. Okay? The facts that were contained in the previous investigation report and the letter from the lawyers. That was an opposite of smoking peace pipe. Up to date, that issue has not been adjudicated to a successful end. So if you want me to describe Yomli Kanga's leadership, it was a mess. I mean, she was disgusting. And if you want me to talk about the Ambassador Boakai, no, the Ambassador Boakai is the one championing the disintegration of the CPP. He have done even worse than what Madam Lawrence Kanga, orchestrated. So, in a nutshell, Ambassador Boakai is a complete disappointment.
Yeah.
Andre?
For me, I want to differ a little bit from Steve, and in a sense that where he said the decision for the ANC to join the CPP was never a mistake. For me, I feel that was a big mistake. Looking at the kind of characters that were involved, Mr. Komisho had never joined the collaborating party with a man like Yuri and a man like Joseph Boakai, knowing fully well Joseph Boakai had served in the previous government for 12 years, which we all know there was rampant corruption and a whole lot of things that went on. He should have never joined with them. And looking at the character Yuri, who has a history of being part of the former regime of Taylor, no, I don't think so. But if he had, because it's already passed now, if he had just collaborated with the ALP, that was going to be fine. And that's what most of Liberians are saying. With all of these that are happening right now, where they are attacking him and they conspired against him, trying to denigrate him, trying to defer his character, is because of that. Yeah, it's just like the parable, if you go down to the peak, you become a pig. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make Mr. Cummings to be a pig like them, to be dirty. And he's not gonna allow it. So that was a mistake. But we cannot cry over or spill milk, because what has happened is already happened. So all we have to do right now is to correct that mistake If they want to get out, let them get out. If they don't want to get out peacefully, they want to get out by causing problem, then they get what they bargain for. That's it. That's politics. Politics is not about coolness or calmness. Politics is dirty. So when someone want to be dirty,
our time is actually
just a minute.
fast.
Just 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds, Linfo. Entry. On the reverse, I think it was the Unity Party and the how do they call them? The All Liberian Party that made an error to have joined a collaboration with Mr. Cummings. Now, in order to convince you, here's the question: who benefited the collaboration? Mr. Cummings benefited the collaboration. He has become 3 times as popular as he was. 3 times more popular than he was. Okay, and so he has benefited, the politics of the collaboration.
But
even now, the accusation, this baseless accusation, it's going to happen. It's going to happen even more after he survived it. And let me say this. Mr. Cummings, every politics is local. Mr. Cummings cannot come with this message, and no man is an island. Even in politics, that statement applies. Now, in other words, did you expect Mr. Cummings to come and become president just alone, understanding how gullible our society is?
He should have chosen another political party instead of these parties that we know that have a track record. They have a track record that's not okay.
1 minute. The parties we know that have a track record and are okay are the biggest political parties in Liberia that command our people attention.
No,
so,
biggest?
Mr. Cummings,
did I hear you say biggest? No.
Of course.
That's the thing. Never underestimate what you are capable of. Mr. Cummings,
no, I'm not discussing.
ANC. I'm not talking about Mr. Cummings as an individual. I'm talking about the ANC. The ANC underestimated themselves, thinking that because they are just coming, and you can never underestimate. This will serve as an example to other newly established parties that no matter where you started for, whether it's 1 year or 6 months, no matter what matters is sincerity, honesty, your track record of good corruption, clean and good reputation. That's what matters. That's what the Liberian people are looking at. The Liberian people want change, Steve, and they are going all out to get change. We see it in the previous election because George Weah deceived the Liberian people and said that he was going to bring change. That was the reason why they voted him overwhelmingly. When they realized that it was all a deception, did you see the election for the senatorial election? They get out from behind him and went behind DeLong, who they thought that he was the so-called Chinese light, but not knowing he was a Chinese light. So Liberian people, that is a message that the Liberian people are sending to these politicians, that they want change and they are resilient when it comes to change, and they are looking for it no matter who. No matter who.
Let me say the fact that you see the ALP, including the UP in disguise, and already resolved to leave the CPP, but yet sending bullets out there that have the propensity to destroy the CPP, even as they will be out of the CPP, tells you that they regret their decision to have entered a collaboration with Mr. Cummings. He has now become
in that sense, yes, because they are corrupt and they thought that Mr. Cummings was an easy ride, not knowing that Mr. Cummings is a man of integrity, is a man that believes in a corruption-free environment. He has worked in an environment that does not tolerate corruption. So it's the same thing that he's gonna do. So now they are finding it difficult.
I want to create this scenario. Scenario. Let's give us. Let's say that Mr. Cummings survives all of these attacks and he manages to enter the race. And there comes Mr. Cummings or the ANC in a tie break with Mr. Weah. I mean, pushing aside the Unity Party because the Liberian people will not give Unity Party a fair chance from my own perspective.
No, absolutely.
Okay? So let's say I'll give the scenario in two ways. That there's a runoff between Unity Party and Mr. Cummings. And CDC is out. So there are two scenarios here. In one scenario, Unity Party is out, and CDC and Mr. Cummings or the ANC go to runoff. Then the other scenario is CDC is out, and Unity Party and Mr. Cummings go to runoff. What do you think will happen? First, we take the other side. What do you think will happen to seditions? Knowing fully well that their party is out now, they are not in the race anymore, but now it's Unity Party versus ANC. So there are two evils.
No.
Which are the evils do you think seditions will choose?
Sedition definitely going to go for ANC. There's no way sedition can vote for Unity Party. No way. They rather go for ANC than Unity Party.
You think so, Steve?
Well, I really do also think so, but perhaps for slightly another reason. And I think that reason is the fact that, CDC, the CDC for 12 years, was dealt with sufficiently by the ruling establishment then, under the watch of Madam Sirleaf. So there's this bad blood that still continue to exist between seditions and the Europeans, so to speak. You understand? And so I really do think so. But let me say this: if you, Linford, you were given an assignment to push a small car, and cover a mile, and at the end of that mile is a deep, valley, and trust me, you push the car, and 75%, approximately 75 to 80% of the distance has been covered. Now you confronted with just 20% more of the distance of the work, of the duty, the assignment before you. And you don't need a rocket scientist to tell you that if you were able to, push it up to that point, you can do the finishing touch. So in other words, Mr. Cummings, from his 12% and more he got in 2017, if he can be able to, resurrect from there, as he's gradually demonstrating, and goes into a runoff, he is automatically the president, the next president come 2024. I can assure you.
Yes. No matter who he's going on a runoff with, he's going to be a president. Definitely.
That mentions that influence, the gravitation of the votes, to him. That message is sufficient to complete the work.
Okay. I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid our time is far spent. We're going to be here again with another edition of the program the bottom line. And this program is all about Liberia. It discusses political, social, economic, and human interest stories as they develop. And when we discuss, we go down to the bottom of the issue. And so in 30 seconds each, what is the bottom line of all of these things that we are experiencing today in the introduction to the political season in Liberia, which is the new year? This is the introduction to what we see, more of which we see. So what is the bottom line here? Andre, to start with you.
It's just, I think that they are just showcasing power, especially Yuri and the ruling party. they just want to show their power, want to show themselves as the corrupt, the corrupt politician in our today politics. That's just what they are trying. You know, they said Mr. Cummings is a stranger, so they are trying to treat him like a stranger, but it's all going to work in Mr. Cummings' favor for good. He has already started. So let them continue. The publicity is very good. It's going very nicely. and we as Mr. Cummings supporters, we are so happy because they are making things easier for us, you know, reaching out to the people who won't talk that much because the records are there. And so, yeah, continue doing what you're doing. You really enjoying it. So continue to advertise our president in waiting. Yes. The real change is here.
Well, I think the bottom line is that the system is fighting back at Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings has brought this real message, this message of real change. And the corrupt system, you know, the HO, you know, decayed system is fighting back, you know, and like we all know, the likes of corrupt Yuri, the likes of the corrupt Unity Party folks, the likes of the corrupt CDC folks, they all fighting back because, you know, they harbor the fear, you know, they harbor the fear that, you know, Mr. Cummings is this force to working with from 2023, you know. And so the bottom line, or the worst, is that this begins, you know, Mr. Cummings' 2023 victory. It purports him as, you know, the face of the opposition. It purports him as the truest representation of the Liberian people, the aspirations of the 5 million plus Liberian people. And the bottom line here is that, you know, under the wash of Black Eye, the CPP is going to disintegrate. I mean, it is not going to disintegrate. I take that back. What I meant to say is that the Yuri party is going to work out. You know, as my intelligence tells me, the UP is also going to work out, but the CPP is going to exist. The CPP is even going to be rebranded. The CPP is going to have new members, constituent political parties. All of the parties that were, you know, on the fence that wanted to join, you know, Mr. Cummings in this fight to bring real change to Liberia, they're going to join forces with Mr. Cummings. And trust me, the CPP is going to, you know, be very proactive, and it's going to be clear, and it's going to advocate. You know, it's going to be more than ever before. Watch out for a different CPP.
Well, thank you. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to say thanks for watching. And I had a host of panelists here tonight, but some of them had some engagements, and so they had to just excuse us very early. And we had Mr. Paul Chuluple from the UK, Mr. Jamel Kamara from the UK, and then they both have to leave because they have other engagements. And then we ended up with Madam Antrik Jallo from Belgium and Mr. Stephen Carley from Germany. And on this note, this is how we like to wrap this edition of the program, The Bottom Line. The Bottom Line comes your way every Tuesday, and Friday at 8 o'clock Central or 9 o'clock. Let's 8 o'clock Central European time. We've dropped the time behind, so that's why. So we come 8 o'clock Central European time, and if you live in the UK, it's going to be 7 o'clock GMT. So if you have the opportunity, you can join us live. We stream on YouTube and also on Facebook. Our Facebook handle is there are several Facebooks that we use. We use the bottom line Liberia, the bottom line, and then the bottom line. So if you just check any of those Facebooks pages, Facebook pages rather, you're going to see us. And this is how we like to wrap up. And we hope to come your way on Friday. But just before we leave, we want to leave you with this message from Mr. Alexander Cummings, the man that is so in battle, the man who they have been hating from left to right. Let's see whether he's discouraged, or let's hear what he has to say to Liberian people.
Never discouraged.
My name is Alexander Cummings, and I want to work with honest men and women to change Liberia for the better. I want to open the doors of governance to all capable persons. I want to use the collective brain power of all of our men and women. I want to build a nation of self-sufficiency. My name is Alexander Cummings, and I want to work with honest men and women to change Liberia for the better. I want to open the doors of governance to all capable persons. I want to use the collective brain power of all of our men and women. I want to build a nation of self-sufficiency.
Wow. He wants to work with honest men and women, and he's showing.
Yeah. Okay. So on that note, I'll say goodbye to you, Antrik, and we will be coming.
Linford, thanks.
We'll be coming to our viewers on Friday again with some other interesting events. Have a nice day.
Thanks for joining us, and have a blessed day. Good night from my end.